Hey, leader, and welcome to another episode of the L3 Leadership Podcast, where we are obsessed with helping you grow to your maximum potential and to maximize the impact of your leadership. My name is Doug Smith, and I am your host, and we recorded this episode live from our Burgo Realty Studios. Today, you're going to hear me share my annual holiday gift guide, where I'll walk you through a list of all of my favorite things that I think would make great gifts for yourself, but also for your friends and family. I think all of these things will add massive value to your life, and so I'm so excited to share them with you. Again, really important, there will be a link in the show notes that you can go to, and it'll take you to a post that I wrote with links to every single item that I discussed. So if you're interested in any of them, make sure that you check that out. And with that being said, let's dive right in. Here's my 2025 holiday gift guide. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the L3 Leadership Podcast. It is great to be with you. It's been a few months, and I apologize for that, but my fall got really busy, and I was unable to sustain my consistent podcasting, and so I'm back, and I'm hoping to be back in the rhythm and groove going into 2026, where I'll be back with you as consistently as possible. And so it's the week before Thanksgiving as I'm recording this, and I thought, let's have some fun in the first episode that I have back in a while. And so I'm going to actually be sharing with you my holiday gift guide for 2025. This is something I started last year, and it's basically me just sharing my favorite products with people that have added value to my life that you can use for gifts for those you love or for yourself if you want to. And every time I share these, I get a ton of feedback of, oh, that was so helpful, and it gave me all kind of ideas, and this added so much value to my life. And so I just thought I'm going to do this every single year. I'm going to be sharing a lot of different products. And so there's a link in the show notes that'll take you to my Substack page and the actual article I wrote on this. And literally there's links to every product that I'm going to mention in this. So you can just go there again in the show notes, click it, and find anything that I discussed. So with that being said, let's dive right in. Here are some of my favorite products in 2025. And again, these are in no particular order. And I'll basically name a category and then name the products within the category and then move on to another category. So I started with finance and just one product under finance here, and it's called Copilot. Copilot is an online software and an app that basically allows you to track all of your finances in one place. So your daily transactions, your investments, everything like that. And so some people in the past have used mint.com and that went away. So many people have gone to Copilot. I've been using it for about a year now. I look at it literally every single day and just love it. It's super easy. It has AI built into it. So even tracking and tracking the categories of your expenses is super easy. So if you need a system for looking at your overall financial picture and getting into the minute details of that, Copilot is for you. The next category, which could be under finance, is credit cards. Now, again, I'll always say this because I am a huge Dave Ramsey fan, and for a long time I had no credit cards. But Laura and I felt like, I basically saw an Instagram story once of someone that I admire and respect, and he said, if you can use credit cards responsibly and you aren't using them, you're basically missing out on a 3 to 6% return on all of your spending. And I thought, that sounds pretty good. So started doing a bunch of research. I've spent a ton of time on this and basically picked the best cards that work for me. So I just wanted to share those with you. Again, if you can't use credit cards appropriately, then I would tell you not to use them at all. But if you can, here are a few that I would recommend. Number one is American Express Platinum Card. If you travel a lot, this can be worth it. Now, my wife has a job where she travels quite a bit, and so that's what makes this card worth it. It does come with, I think it's a $750 annual fee, which is one of the steepest in the market. So again, the real perk here is when you use this card, if you use it for travel, you get 5x points with Amex if you book through Amex Travel or directly through an actual flight service. And so if you travel a lot, it's worth it. If not, all the other spending is basically just 1x points. So this is basically a luxury card. It does have a ton of benefits. One of my favorite benefits, again, if you travel a lot, is you can get into the American Express lounges, which are in several airports throughout the US and the world. And they're absolutely awesome. I didn't know clubs existed before this. And, you go in and it's basically like you go in a door that you wouldn't even know that was there if you didn't know the clubs existed, and it's just a whole other universe. And basically there's free meals. It's an awesome place to hang out. They have showers. It's crazy. And so if you've never experienced that and you travel a lot, I highly encourage you to get the Amex Platinum card. If you don't travel a lot, I would tell you, do not get this card. It's not worth it. Second card we use is the American Express Gold Card. If you have a family like I do and you go out to eat a lot, this card is absolutely worth it. I think the annual fee on this is like $250 to $350, somewhere in there, but you get 4x points on restaurants and groceries, which is basically all of our spending. And so I get a ton of points for this, which we ultimately redeem for most of our travel. And so, we have 5 kids. So this ends up paying for a lot of times airfare for our kids during travel or hotel stays at great places. And that's really why we use our credit card. So the Gold Card is great if you spend a lot on restaurants and groceries. And then for all of our other spending, we basically use Wells Fargo 2% cash back card. Again, this is pretty standard and basic, just you get 2% cash back on all of your spending. And so usually this equates to, $1,000 or $2,000 for us at the end of the year. That's really, really nice to be able to put towards Christmas or something like that. So Wells Fargo 2% cash back. And then the other honorable mention that I would say is American Express Blue Cash Preferred. This is another alternative to the Gold Card. So in this card, you actually get 6% cash back on groceries for up to $6,000 a year spent. So again, it's a good way. I think there's an annual fee of like $90, but it's a good way to get a pretty good return and have some cash at the end of the year to throw towards Christmas or whatever. So those are the credit cards we use. Again, if you use the links that I provided, you get some bonus points as well in there in the Substack article. So make sure you check that out. So that's credit cards.
At Indosha, we help transform visions into results. What does that mean? We often work with companies who are doing amazing things that have incredible products and services, but fail to communicate what they do properly and market themselves effectively. We passionately serve entrepreneurs, business leaders, and visionaries to see what's in their heart and their visions for the future come to life. We do that by providing fractional marketing leadership and creative execution all in one. That's what we call VCMO. With VCMO, you get a marketing director and a team of creative professionals to help execute all of your marketing needs, all for one monthly cost. How do we do all this? We do it 3 ways. Number 1, we get your vision. We get excited about your mission and your trajectory as a company and come alongside to see you go further, faster. 2, we have a team of talented strategists and creatives to get all of the work done. And 3, we flat out work freaking hard for you and your company. Reach out today. Let's start a conversation.
Next section is family, which is my number 1 passion. Lots of fun things here. Number 1 is Greenlight. So Greenlight is an app that we use to teach our kids how to use money. So this is basically an app that when our kids, and I'm not going to go through our system for paying them, but when they get paid, everything's electronic and they get debit cards. And so we can actually transfer funds to each of their accounts, each individual kid. Each individual kid has debit cards, and you could separate their accounts into giving, saving, spending, and even investment accounts you can have on here for your kids. And there's lots of lessons that they have on there. There's so many ways to use this, but we actually allow our kids to pay themselves in a sense of they're entering in how much money is getting transferred, and we make them give 10% to give, and we make them put away 20% to invest. And so they're doing that on a regular basis, and they're all under 9 years old, and they're already learning how to spend money and how to save for things. Greenlight has been a game changer. Again, you can use a link to get some cash back if you sign up for it in the article with the link in the show notes. So that's Greenlight. Highly recommended for teaching your kids money habits. Number 2 under family is the Skylight Calendar. This is a new product that we got introduced to this year. And basically it's a portable, I would say, photo frame, either that can sit on your counter or hang on your wall. We got the one that hangs on your wall, and basically this has everything you can imagine that you would need for your family planning. So it has a shared calendar, it has shared lists that you can create, it has chore charts for all of the kids on there. It has ways to import events that will go on your calendar. It has a photo picture. It has photos in it, so you can also turn it into a picture frame in your home. So very, very functional. If you'll actually use it, I think it's very, very nice to have. If you won't use all the functionality, then I wouldn't encourage you to get it. But Skylight Calendar, check that out. It's a great way to keep your family organized. Number 3 under family is the Brick. The Brick is a little device. I actually do have one in my pocket. If you're watching online, here it is. It's just a little brick. And this is a device that you can basically choose a list of apps on your phone to block. And when your phone scans this device, it'll block all of those apps and won't allow you to have access to them until you scan that device again. So this has been huge. I can't oversell this. This has been a game changer for me when it comes to staying focused and being present with my kids, or really in any situation. And so I used to find myself mindlessly scrolling, and I just couldn't help it. Like I didn't didn't even know I was doing it. You just go for that dopamine hit. But having a brick has helped me to alleviate all distractions from me basically not even needing to go on my phone. And so it's been a game changer. Highly recommend it, the brick. Number 4 is The Week Junior. This is a magazine we subscribed to maybe a year or two ago for our oldest daughter, and now our second oldest is getting into it as well. But it's a magazine for kids that you get weekly that basically updates them on everything going on in the world. And there's an adult version of this too that Laura and I subscribe to. So again, really encourage you to check it out. But it's been awesome to go through this with our oldest daughter and actually talk about world events and things that are happening all over the place and in all areas of life. It's been really helpful, and it gives them a bigger picture of the world. So The Week Junior is what it's called. And then lastly, I always promote Family Teams. FamilyTeams.org is a ministry that we follow that helps equips families. And basically the way Laura and I lead our family is basically the way that Family Teams teaches you to lead your family. So they have podcasts, they have all kind of resources, they have coaching, training available. Really encourage you to get connected with that community if you're looking for a more intentional way to lead your family. That's going to cover the family category. Next, we'll go into clothing and comfort, which I'm not a big clothes guy. I'm not good at styling or anything like that, but Laura got me a few pieces of clothing from Vuori. I think that's how you say it, Vuori, and they're awesome. Like everything I own that is by them is incredible. So check them out. Very comfortable, great dress pants, etc. And then 2 on comfort, Cozy Earth blankets. Cozy Earth blankets. Laura wanted a blanket last year, and I actually found another holiday gift guide that I heard about these blankets, and this blanket we got is the heaviest blanket I've ever experienced in my life, but it's the softest and most cuddliest, comforting blanket that you can imagine, and so we call it the Great Fur. Highly recommend it. You can check that out in the clothing and comfort section in the article. Next up is games. So I'm always looking for more games to play with a family or individually. So here are a few of our favorites. One is called Escape the Crate. So Escape the Crate is basically a subscription box, or you can just buy an individual one, but it's basically an escape room in a box. So this has been great for Laura and I to have date nights. And so basically you open the box, it has all kinds of things that you have to go through, and you basically use a QR code and you go through this guided experience on your phone, but all of the puzzles are in the box. And so you have to work through puzzles and escape. And it's a ton of fun. You can do it with friends. However, I found like the sweet spot for doing it is usually 2 people. You could probably get away with 3 or 4, but any more than that, it's probably too many people. So it's a great thing for husbands and wives. Escape the Crate. Next is the New York Times Games app. I love this. It has tons of games like Wordle. Laura and I do Wordle every single day, which I love. It has mini crosswords, the New York Times crosswords. It's just a bunch of fun games that you can just hop on daily to kind of help exercise your mind. So New York Times Games app. Next is Monopoly Deal. This is a card game that is basically a really quick version of playing Monopoly. You can usually finish a round in like 10 to 20 minutes. So that's been a lot of fun in a way that you don't have to sit around for an entire hour for a game, but you can just work through relatively quickly. Monopoly Deal. And then lastly, Ticket to Ride. I ask people all the time what games we should get, and Ticket to Ride came up like 100 times when I asked people. And so we got it, and I could say that everyone was right. It's an incredible game, a lot of fun, a lot of strategy behind it, and highly encourage you to get that. So those are some games if you're looking for something fun to do with your family and friends. Check those out. Next section is health and fitness. So I did an entire post on this, but Function Health Blood Work. Function Health Blood Work. So Dr. Mark Hyman is the one that created this. And basically, it's a blood test that goes really in depth with Function Health. And you get 2 blood tests a year for this. And basically, you get two tests with over 100 biomarkers tested in the first test. And then halfway through the year, you test about 60 biomarkers to see what kind of progress that you made. And this was really eye-opening to me without going into a ton of details. It caused me to make significant changes in my health, in my nutrition, in my diet that could potentially save my life in the long run. And so really grateful for this. I actually included a link in the show notes to the article I wrote if you want to read more about it. But I really think everyone should have this on an annual basis just to have the data that you need on your health. Can't recommend that enough. Next is the Bevel app. If you have an Apple Watch, this is a must. It's specifically only for Apple users, but if you've ever heard of like a Whoop or an Aura Ring, it basically does the exact same thing they do, only with Apple Watches. So if you have an Apple Watch and want more data on your health, this is the only app that you'll need. It literally gives you all the data you could ever possibly want on your health and fitness. So really check that out, Bevel app in the App Store. Next is the Yuka app, YUKA app. And this is an app that I use that'll scan your food and your hygiene products and basically tell you if it's healthy or not. It'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 100, and it'll also provide substitutes for you. So this has been super helpful. There's times where, I'm thinking of these crackers that I like, Mary's Gone crackers, and I thought they were pretty healthy. I scanned them, and they were like a 40 out of 100. But what was beautiful, it provided like 20 options of things that they graded like 80 out of 100 that are chips and crackers that are just as good, but they're healthier for you. So Yuka app, check that out. It's super helpful. MyFitnessPal, I've been using this for years. If you need a great calorie counter and where you actually track your meals, MyFitnessPal is definitely the way to go. Check that out. Next is ChatGPT. This is huge. I basically use AI to be a coach for me in every area of my life, whether that's work, executive leadership, and my health. And it's been super helpful for my health as I'm talking about it. Just basically telling it the results of my blood work and everything going on in my life. It's been a great coach that's dialed in and really helped me focus on my health and nutrition. So just more than anything, try to think like, how could ChatGPT and AI help me with my health journey? And when you start playing around with that, I think you'll be surprised at how much it can. Next is Beachbody workout programs. I've been using Beachbody, and now it's called Body workouts for over 20 years now, which is crazy. But they're the creators of P90X, Body Beast, Dig Deeper. They have all kinds of programs that I love. But basically, those are my go-to lifting workouts on a daily basis. And then the next one would be Peloton. Laura and I got a Peloton probably 4 or 5 years ago. Love it. Use it all the time. Not only can you ride it as a bike, they have a rower, they have a treadmill, they have strength classes, they have yoga classes. Really, if you like working out from home, you should get a Peloton. It's super, super awesome. And then lastly, in the health and fitness area, Power Block dumbbells. I'm sure you've seen these online, but they're basically just dumbbells that I have 2 sets. One go from 10 to 50 pounds. The other go from 10 to 90. So I have 2 sets of dumbbells. Literally, it's just 4 dumbbells total. Doesn't take up a lot of space, but has all the weight I could possibly need, and they're adjustable. So I've been using those for probably 15 years, and they're the same dumbbells. So it's a little bit of an investment on the front end, but they'll last you forever. So highly recommend Power Block dumbbells. Kids, I just put Nintendo Switch. We got this 2 Christmases ago, and we love it. I know Switch 2 is out now, but I'm a huge fan. A lot of fun games for families, especially if you have young kids. Get a Nintendo Switch. All right, next section is kitchen, food, and drink. Lots of things here. The Paprika app, I've been selling this for the past 2 years. I've been using it. But basically, this is an app where you can collect all of your recipes that you have, whether you got online, etc. You can put them all in one place. And what I love about this is the way it collects recipes online is if you find a great recipe on Safari or whatever browser you're using, you could basically just copy the URL and then paste it into Paprika. And if you've ever seen recipes online, it has ads, it has tons of text. It takes all of that out and it puts it all in one place in a really easy way to digest format. And so it basically says, hey, here's the ingredients and here's what to do. That's it. And then you can actually export the shopping list or the grocery list based on the items that are needed for the recipe. Makes it super, super easy to grocery shop. And again, you can categorize everything. So you can say, hey, what recipes do I have? What soup recipes do I have? What chicken recipes do I have? And it makes it real easy just to find and meal plan that way. So Paprika app, if you don't have a good meal planning app, can't recommend that enough. Number 2 is the NutriBullet. We've been using this for years, but yeah, if you like to make smoothies, NutriBullet's the way to go. I won't say much more about that. Jura coffee machines. This is huge. So unfortunately, I don't drink coffee or tea anymore, which kills me. But I used to drink like a gallon of coffee a day, and I'd go to Starbucks. I think I was averaging $1,500 a year at Starbucks that I was spending. And eventually, I'd buy all these coffee makers, but I just felt like they weren't great and they'd break within a year. And just not really produce great quality coffee. And someone introduced me to the Jura, and they're a little pricey, but we ended up buying one, and probably the best investment as far as coffee and tea is concerned that we've ever made. We've had our Jura now for probably 5 years, and it's easily paid for itself. But fantastic coffee, super easy. It's fancy, great way to host. So can't recommend Juras enough. You can check them out again in the link below. Next, all-clad 10-piece stainless steel set. So I mentioned this in an earlier podcast, but we replaced all of our pots and pans this year, and we replaced them with all-clad, the 10-piece stainless steel kit. It's been phenomenal. When I shared this post earlier, I had a coworker reach out to me, and he said, I bought my all-clad stainless steel kit in like 1979, and it's still going strong. So lifetime warranty. These will serve you forever. So just make sure you have great quality pans and pots in your house, and stainless steel by Alclad is the way to go. And then lastly, I don't even know if I'll say this right, but Wusthof 11-piece knife set. I have tons of friends who cook all the time, and they're like, man, the right knife really makes a difference. And for me, I would just laugh and be like, really? Like, knives are just knives. They cut through stuff. But Laura and I decided to get a nice set of knives earlier this year. And when I got them, I realized that my friends were right. It really does make a difference. These things slice through things like butter, as they say. And so really recommend them if you're looking for a good knife set. Wusthof is a great brand. So those are my kitchen food and drink recommendations. Next, I'll go into personal tech. First is a Moft MagSafe wallet. And this is basically just a wallet. Again, I have it on my iPhone right here, but it's basically, it fits right onto the back of your iPhone. It'll fit 3 credit cards at a time, and it'll actually create a stand where you can set your iPhone upright. So it's really, really nice, super cheap, but I've loved having it and made it super convenient rather than carrying a wallet around in my back pocket. Next is Aura picture frames. So these are awesome. They're digital picture frames, and they make it super easy to upload pictures. The quality of them is fantastic. We have ours right in our kitchen. And so again, seeing the pictures of all the memories we've made as a family together every day when we spend a ton of time in the kitchen has brought so much joy to us. We'll oftentimes look at it and say, wow, do you remember that? And we'll just laugh about it. We've also used these as gifts. I got one for my father-in-law and my dad. My dad is so funny. He's a guy that like doesn't want presents at all, usually wants to return whatever presents people get him. But this was the first time, literally the first gift I ever gave him probably in 40 years of living, that he actually said like, this was a great gift. And so if you're looking for a great gift for loved ones or picture frames, check them out. Next is Sonos speakers. When we bought the house that we're in, the previous owners had speakers all throughout the house that sounded unbelievable, and they were all in sync playing the same thing. And basically I was like, what system is that? And they're like, Sonos. They're super awesome. You plug them in and they're super easy to sync. So we invested in a Sonos speaker system for our house, and we absolutely love it. So if you're looking for a speaker system, check out Sonos. Next is 1Password. So this is just an app that I use on my browser called 1Password, which basically does what it sounds like. It takes all of your passwords and just saves them in one place. So when you're going to log in to email or whatever you're logging into, you don't have to remember your password. You could just pull it up and put it in, and it's so nice. It probably saves me hours and hours and hours of being frustrated that I don't know what my password is. That's 1Password. Next is the Remarkable. If you're watching this, I have it here, but this is a Remarkable Pro. It's basically a pad that you can write in that's supposed to replace pen and paper, but also not be an iPad. So it feels like pen and paper when you're writing on it. You can erase it. You can journal. I use this for everything. I use it every single day. And why I love that it's not an iPad. There's no apps on it. There's nothing to distract you. It's just writing. So I use this for my journal. I use this for my daily productivity. I use this for, you could put PDFs on it and actually write on the PDFs and take notes. So I use it for a billion different things. Really encourage you to check it out. It's a Remarkable. Usually when I'm out with people and I'm taking notes, they say, what is that? And then I sell them. I probably have sold over 50 Remarkables. I should become an owner in the company. Anyway, next, 5-minute journal app. I promote this every year, but Laura and I have been using this for 9 years now. It's just a really quick app on our phone where in the morning, it basically just prompts you, what are you grateful for? And, what does a win look like today? And at the end of the day, you basically say like, hey, what was great about today? What did I learn? And you can put a picture of the day highlight. So every day for the past 9 years, I have a picture of the day, and I can go back at any day and say what I did and what I learned. And it's just a great app, and it really doesn't take a lot of time to journal. So really encourage you to check that out. And then I put Grammarly. Grammarly is just an app that basically helps you with your grammar, which I desperately need online. So when you're typing and stuff, it'll just automatically create auto corrections, etc. I use it every day and make millions of adjustments and corrections every single year. So Grammarly, check that out. The next section is learning and books, and this is actually the last section. So obviously, I read a lot, so I just want to share some of my favorite books in the past year or two. And one resource that I'd really recommend even before that is Audible. I don't always listen to Audible books. I actually like reading more, but occasionally there's an Audible book or two that I just love. I love the narrator, love the way it sounds. So one of those books for me. So side note, get an Audible subscription if you don't have one. But one of the books that I love listening to on Audible was The Ride of a Lifetime by Bob Iger. He's the CEO of Disney. It's his story of how he started with ABC and basically worked his way up to being the CEO of Disney, to acquiring Pixar and Star Wars and Marvel. It's the best business biography that I've ever read. Like, unbelievable. I was on the edge of my seat, like every second thinking like, man, what's he going to do? Or how did he do that? And just such great storytelling. So again, if you like leadership, business, check it out. The Ride of a Lifetime. Second book I'd recommend is Experience Jesus, Really. Experience Jesus, Really. This is a book by John Eldredge, who I've come to love. It was probably the most transformative book of the year for Laura and I. Made a really, really big impact on us. So if you're looking to grow in your walk with God, can't recommend that book enough. And then another book by John Eldredge that I read this year that was life-changing was called Fathered by God. I truly do believe that every man on the planet needs to read this book. It basically walks you through the stages of manhood. I think there's 6 stages in the book. And it just spoke to me so many different times for so many different reasons. So again, if you're a man listening to this or have young men in your life, get them this book, Fathered by God by John Eldredge. Next is Die with Zero. So by Bill Perkins. I read this book every year, and it's just a great reminder to live in the moment. And basically the whole premise of the book is, yes, you need money to save for retirement, but you also should be spending your money now on experiences that you'll live off of in retirement. Because when you're 70, you're probably not going to want to climb Mount Everest. But when you're 40, you probably could and will want to. And so climb Mount Everest now so you have that memory to live off of when you're 70. And so really, really good book. I'd highly recommend and make it required reading for every year. Next is 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. Again, the whole premise is just to get you to think bigger. So, most people think, oh, okay, I want to double my revenue, or I want to double my income. I want to double whatever. And he said, no, stop thinking like that. Instead of thinking, how am I going to double something? Think, how am I going to 10X this? Because if you think, how am I going to make this 10X bigger? How can I make 10X the income that I make? It forces you to think at a higher level and be more creative about solutions. So 10X is Easier Than 2X, phenomenal read. Another book by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin that I'd recommend is called Who Not How. Again, really simple concept, but life-changing. He basically just said, if you find that you have goals and you you're not able to consistently achieve them, you're probably saying, well, like, what else can I do? How can I achieve this? And he said, don't ask how. The question you should be asking is who. You basically need to come to the conclusion that you're not going to be able to achieve this goal by yourself. You're going to need the help of someone else. So who, what expertise do you need to bring around you to help you complete that? So Who Not How, really, really good book. And then lastly, Traction by Gino Wickman. This book and really the EOS, which stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System, transformed my life as well as our organization. And if you help run an organization or would like to, really encourage you to read this book. It kind of gives you a roadmap for how to run an organization well, and actually gives you an operating system for how to do that. And then the last resource I put in learning is just the L3 Leadership Podcast. Again, I'm really looking forward to 2026. I plan on doing a lot more personal lessons. I'm still going to be doing interviews, but I've gotten enough feedback of people saying like, hey, everyone does interviews. We actually like your personal lessons sometimes more than your interviews. And so we'd love to hear from you more, Doug. And so I'm going to try to be more consistent in doing personal lessons to add value to your life. But there it is, my holiday gift guide 2025. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you find a few products that will add value to your life and add value to your loved ones' lives as well. And hey, I'm always looking for more things to add to my list. So if there's a gadget, a game, something techie that you love, and you're saying, Doug, if you don't know about this, you need to, please, leave a comment, hit me up on social media. I would love to add those things to my list and check them out. So thanks for listening, and looking forward to being with you next episode. Hey, leader, thank you so much for listening to me share my holiday gift guide. I hope that you found some gifts for yourself as well as some of your friends and family over the holiday season. More than anything, I hope it added value to your life. So again, if you wanted to access any of the links to anything that I talked about, there's a link in the show notes that'll take you to a Substack article that I wrote that has links to every single gift that I discussed. So I hope that'll help. As always, I want to thank our sponsor, Endosha Marketing Solutions. They are the producers of this podcast. And if your organization needs marketing expertise, I wholeheartedly recommend their services. You can visit them at endosha.com. That's ANDOCIA.com. And as always, leader, I like to end every episode with a quote. And today I'll share a quote on giving generously. It says this. It says, "Give generously, even with your ideas. Inspiration is one of the easiest gifts to share." And I hope that you were inspired by this episode, but all of the episodes that we've offered as well. So that's going to wrap up today's episode. As always, remember, leaders, don't quit. Keep leading. The world desperately needs your leadership. Until next time, have a great day.